They say some folks are born with a gift so powerful it can bridge the worlds of the living and the dead. It can heal, but it can also summon darkness. Mississippi, 1932. Sammy stumbles into church, covered in blood, clutching his shattered guitar. His father Yedidia, the preacher, rushes to him, begins praying. Sammy, haunted by flashbacks of a monstrous creature, is silent. This nightmare began just a day earlier. Twin brothers Smoke and Stack, fresh from the army and Chicago mob work, used stolen cash to buy a sawmill and land from Hogwood, an ex-KKK member. They warn him and his clan to stay away or else. Sammy finds his guitar in church. Yedidia urges him to join tomorrow's sermon, but Sammy wants out. He craves peace, not preaching. Yedidia warns him. The devil listens closely to musicians. Smoke and Stack, Sammy's cousins, pick him up. They retrieve a truck from the woods, dealing with a snake on the way. In town, Smoke parks the truck and pays a girl to watch it, visits old friends Bo and Grace, and proposes a business deal. Supply food for the juke joint he and Stack are opening. Suddenly, two men try to steal booze from the truck. Smoke shoots at them, proving the twins' reputation. Elsewhere, Stack reminisces about their abusive father. He admits he knocked out their dad and Smoke finished him by burning him alive. Stack gives their dad's guitar to Sammy, who responds with a quiet song. At the train station, Stack recruits Slim, a harmonica player, for their opening night, tempted by higher pay and unlimited beer. Slim and Sammy jam outside as Stack draws a crowd. Mary, Stack's ex, watches unseen. Sammy attempts to flirt with Perline. She's married but a singer, invited to join tonight's show. Mary confronts Stack for abandoning her and missing her mother's funeral. Stack stays cold. It's an act to protect her. On the drive back, Slim admits he's done jail time. Their last stop, the cotton fields, recruiting cornbread as their juke joint's bouncer. Meanwhile, Smoke quietly visits his child's grave, then goes to his ex-wife Annie's house, asking her to cook for the new juke joint. Annie secretly practices hoodoo, selling remedies and performing rituals she claims have kept the twins safe. Smoke and Annie's old feelings resurface, and they end up together. Miles away, chaos. Remick, an Irish immigrant on fire, bursts into a cabin begging Joan and Bert for help, claiming the Choctaw tribe took his wife and wants him dead. He bribes them to let him stay. Choctaw warriors soon arrive, warning that Remick is dangerous, but Joan lies to protect him. Moments later, Joan finds Bert bleeding. Remick has attacked. Bert suddenly revives, his eyes inhuman. Remick has turned him into a vampire. Joan's scream echoes in the night. That evening, the juke joint opens. Crowds dancing, drinking, tension simmering. Smoke's angry Stack is accepting worthless plantation credits instead of cash, but Stack insists it'll build business. Mary tries to enter the club and Cornbread blocks her, until he realizes she's an old friend and lets her in. Sammy urges Mary to leave. She refuses, revealing her complex heritage. Their conversation is cut short when Smoke argues with the Choctaw family. He tells Stack to get Mary out, but she refuses, and Stack finally admits he still loves her, yet insists she's safer without him, leaving her heartbroken. Slim finishes his piano set. Sammy's up next and stuns the crowd. His music stirs supernatural echoes. Invisible spirits and dancers fill the room. Afterward, Sammy slips away with Perline. But trouble's coming. Remick, now fully a vampire, arrives at the juke joint with Bert and Joan. Cornbread blocks them. Remick claims they're just musicians, but the twins aren't interested. When Remick offers to pay, it's revealed. Whites aren't allowed. The trio walks off into the night. Smoke warns Sammy, quit this music. Stick to church songs. The only way to stay safe. This juke joint business is dangerous. When Sammy insists he wants more from life, Smoke pulls a gun, but Sammy stands his ground. Smoke relents. Stack confides to Mary that they're losing money. Customers pay with plantation credits. Mary offers to see if 3 mysterious musicians have real cash. Armed with Stack's gun, she finds them on the edge of the property. Remick shows her bizarre gold coins, hinting at their otherworldly origin, his eyes flashing red. Alarmed, Mary warns them away and leaves. Remick disappears. At the club, Cornbread steps out for a break, hearing whispers in the woods. Inside, Mary sneaks in as Sammy and Perline perform, hands stack the eerie coins, and seduces him in a private room. Stack misses the bleeding bite on Mary's shoulder. Trouble breaks out in the gambling room. A player pulls a blade, but Smoke handles him, discovering the man's loaded dice. He sends Sammy to fetch Stack, but Sammy catches Stack and Mary and retreats awkwardly. Smoke goes for his brother. But Cornbread is missing, and Slim notes the absence. Smoke opens the side door and sees Mary, now a vampire, feasting on Stack. Smoke shoots her, but she barely notices, promising death for all before vanishing. Smoke cradles Stack as he dies. Slim ushers guests out while Annie urges them to burn Stack's body. Smoke locks it away instead. Cornbread returns, unnaturally calm, asking permission to enter. Annie demands to know why. He pleads, "I'm sorry," until Annie calls him out as a vampire. Cornbread drops the pretense, revealing fangs. Smoke's bullets do nothing. Cornbread lunges, but Smoke barely escapes inside. Suddenly, Stack bangs from the locked room, seemingly alive, but Annie warns them, that's not him anymore. The door bursts open. Stack attacks Sammy, but Annie hurls pickled garlic juice, burning the vampire and sending him fleeing. As Smoke helps Sammy, Grace worries for her husband outside, but Annie begs everyone, stay in until sunrise. Annie lays out the rules: garlic, wooden stakes, holy water, silver, sunlight. The only weapons that matter now. They scramble, prepping garlic, fashioning stakes. Sammy wonders if the music brought this evil. Privately, Annie makes Smoke promise. If she turns, he'll finish it. In the back room, the group discovers another horror. A guest, dead. Sammy and Smoke drag the dead guest outside, only to find an entire crowd of turned townsfolk already dancing in the moonlight. At the center stands Remick, singing like a preacher from hell, surrounded by vampires playing instruments like it's their own unholy gospel. Panicked, the two rush back inside. Annie quickly demands everyone eat garlic to prove they're still human. When Perline refuses, Smoke pulls his gun and forces her to chew. Even Slim gets tested. He reacts hard, but it turns out he's just too drunk. A knock at the door. Smoke opens it to see Sammy screaming as Cornbread tears into him right there on the porch. Blood everywhere. Then Bo shows up, saying he's brought the car for Grace. She hesitates. He asks to be let in. Before anyone can decide, Remick steps into view again, still calm, still grinning. He promises them a future where black folks don't have to beg, suffer, or hide anymore. He says Sammy's music can help him gather more followers, and if Sammy agrees to come willingly, he'll spare the rest. But Smoke won't allow it. Sammy's not going anywhere. As the vampires start closing in, Remick drops a bombshell. Hogwood's still clan. And this land was part of a trap. The whole deal was meant to gather black folks in one place for a massacre. Now Remick offers them another option. Join us. Become vampires. Gain power. Protect yourselves from people like Hogwood forever. Mary and Stack, now fully turned, urge their friends to accept the deal. But Smoke and the others shut the door in their faces. Inside, the tension breaks. Grace can't stop thinking about her daughter in town. She's shaking, sobbing. The others try to calm her, but her mind snaps. She screams an invitation, and suddenly the vampires have their way in. Everything explodes. Remick bursts through the door, and Grace throws a torch at him, but he knocks it aside. The rest of the bloodsuckers flood in, and the real fight begins. Grace stabs Bo through the heart and tosses him into the flames, but the fire catches her too. She burns alive, screaming. The rest of the group battles like hell. Stakes fly. Gunshots ring out. One by one, they drop the monsters. But there are too many, too fast, too strong. Stack, now a full vampire, sinks his teeth into Annie. Smoke runs to her, but Remick tackles him. Perline shoots Remick, just enough to get him off. Smoke rushes to Annie, who's barely hanging on. She looks him in the eyes and reminds him of the promise. Choking back tears, Smoke drives the stake into her chest. Mary and Stack pause, some flicker of humanity still left in them. They mourn her, if only for a second. The survivors scramble upstairs. Slim stays behind, sacrificing himself. The vampires rip into him as the others reach the upper floor, but Remick's already waiting, blocking their path. He tries to take Sammy. Stack attacks his own brother to help. Perline fights back too, stabbing Remick, but he throws her across the room like a rag doll and bites her. Smoke breaks free and shoots Remick, forcing him back. Sammy crawls to Perline, but she knows it's over. She begs him to go before she turns. He runs. Sammy leaps from the upper window, but lands badly, his legs snapping as he tumbles into the dirt. Before he can recover, Remick lands behind him and slashes his face. Sammy tumbles into the lake. Remick follows him in. He pins Sammy, ready to feed, but stops when Sammy begins to pray. The moment freezes. The other vampires approach slowly, and they start praying too. Haunted, moved, remembering something. Remick's face twists in anger. He starts dunking Sammy in the lake over and over, ranting against God, against hope, against everything. Back inside, the twin brothers are still brawling, both bloodied, bruised, and refusing to back down. Eventually, Stack overpowers Smoke and pins him. Fangs out, he's ready to bite. But when he leans in, he stops. He can't do it. Smoke seizes the moment. He wrestles free, grabs a wooden stake, and holds it over his brother. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you," he whispers, but Stack stops him with one sentence. "Don't be sorry." Back at the lake, Sammy spots his broken guitar, half buried in the mud. As Remick looms closer, Sammy grips the neck and smashes it across the vampire's head. Instantly, all the vampires scream in agony, as if the music itself is burning their insides. Remick pulls the guitar shard from his skull, snarling, and that's when Smoke appears from the trees. He doesn't hesitate. He drives the stake straight through Remick's chest. And just like that, the sun rises. Flames erupt across the battlefield. One by one, the vampires combust in slow, agonizing bursts, Remick being the last, vanishing in a whirlwind of fire. It's over. Smoke limps back to Sammy, bloodied but alive. He tells him to get in the car and leave, now, before the clan arrives. Sammy hesitates but drives off. As he reaches the church, Smoke gathers every weapon he can find. He's not done yet. Soon enough, Hogwood and his crew of clanmen arrive, only to find the juke joint sealed shut. Confused, they barely react in time when bullets start flying from the woods. Smoke guns down half the group in seconds, then emerges to finish the rest. They shoot back, one hitting him in the stomach, but he keeps going. Two men try to escape in a truck. Smoke lobs a grenade. Boom. Gone. Only Hogwood remains. Wounded and swaying, Smoke walks up to him. Hogwood offers money, trying to buy his way out. Smoke takes a drag from Hogwood's cigarette, blood dripping down his shirt, then shoots him in the head without a word. As Smoke falls beside him, he sees a vision of Annie and their son standing by the trees, waiting for him. Back at the church, Sammy walks in, his face bruised, his soul worn. His father begs him to drop the guitar, but Sammy won't. He says he's not giving up the music. He's not giving up himself. And just like that, he leaves Mississippi behind. Years pass, and old Sammy still plays in smoky northern clubs. The fire never left his hands. One quiet night, two familiar faces appear in the crowd, Mary and Stack. They haven't aged a day. They tell him Smoke couldn't bring himself to kill them. Instead, he let them go, on one condition: never harm Sammy. They can tell his time is near. They offer to turn him, to let him play forever. But Sammy gently declines. He's seen enough of this world. Still, he picks up his guitar for one last song, just for them. As his fingers strum the strings, he smiles. That night before the fight, he says, "Best day of my life." Stack nods. It was the last time I saw the sun, the last time I held my brother, the last time I felt free. And with that, the music plays once more.